There are 10 motorcycle brands that nobody is buying anymore, and smart dealers are now liquidating them for pennies. The motorcycle market is in the middle of a brutal correction, where brand loyalty is meaningless and only value survives. These 10 brands have become toxic assets, sitting on showroom floors while their resale values collapse in real time. You were told that a legendary name was a safe bet. The truth is that name is now a financial liability. In this video, we are exposing the 10 brands that have lost their relevance. We will show you why they are now a terrible investment at any price. You need to watch until the end, because the brand at number 1 is not just unpopular. It is a household name facing a complete market rejection. Triumph's classic roadsters have become the perfect example of premium nostalgia hitting a market wall. What was once a cult following has proven to be nothing more than a marketing mirage. The data does not lie. New buyer acquisition for Triumph's heritage models has plummeted by 37% in the last 18 months alone. Young riders simply are not buying into the British heritage premium anymore. The retro motorcycle market that Triumph once dominated is now completely saturated. With everyone from Royal Enfield to Honda offering retro-styled alternatives at dramatically lower price points, Triumph's premium positioning has become untenable. Their classic roadsters are now commanding up to 45% lower resale values compared to just 3 years ago. Dealers across the country are slashing prices on Triumph's Bonneville, Thruxton, and Street Twin models. We are witnessing nothing short of desperation, with showrooms offering discounts as deep as 22% below MSRP just to move aging inventory. One Michigan dealer I spoke with has Bonnevilles that have been sitting on the floor for over 270 days. The strategic miscalculation here is stunning. While Triumph doubled down on vintage aesthetics and chrome-plated nostalgia, the market fundamentally shifted toward motorcycles that deliver modern technology and practical value. The brand that once commanded premium pricing for its heritage is now being forced to compete on price, the ultimate defeat for a premium brand. This collapse reveals the fundamental toxicity of Triumph's classic roadster lineup as an investment. Even with deep discounts, these bikes continue to depreciate at an accelerated rate. One owner reported losing nearly $4,000 in value on a Thruxton he purchased just 14 months ago. The brutal reality is that these classic-styled Triumphs have become financial liabilities the moment they leave the showroom. Number 9. Kawasaki's Z900. The Kawasaki Z900 represents perhaps the most disappointing case of unfulfilled potential in the motorcycle industry today. This is a machine that was heralded as the perfect blend of performance, price, and practicality when it launched. Yet today, it sits languishing on dealership floors nationwide, with dealers reporting that potential customers barely give it a second glance. The sales numbers tell the devastating story. Z900 purchases have declined by a staggering 42% year over year. Despite being positioned as Kawasaki's mainstream market darling, it has completely failed to capture rider imagination or loyalty. Industry insiders point to a perfect storm of factors, chief among them being Kawasaki's marketing stagnation. While competitors bombard social media with exciting content featuring their naked bikes, Kawasaki's marketing strategy for the Z900 has been virtually non-existent. The model has received only minor cosmetic updates since its introduction, while competitors like the Yamaha MT-09 and the KTM 890 Duke have undergone significant evolutions in both technology and styling. The resale market provides the clearest evidence of the Z900's market rejection. Used models are now routinely selling for 30 to 35% below their original manufacturer's suggested retail price after just 2 years of ownership, a depreciation rate that makes financial advisors shudder. Dealers report that trade-in values have collapsed to the point where many are refusing to accept Z900s without significant negative equity arrangements. What is particularly damning is the innovation gap that has developed between the Z900 and its competitors. While Kawasaki made only minor refinements, rivals introduced rider-focused technologies like advanced electronics packages, smartphone connectivity, and distinctive styling updates that resonated with modern riders. The Z900 has been left behind becoming the definition of market irrelevance. This market rejection represents Kawasaki's fundamental misunderstanding of what today's riders actually want. The company bet that raw performance numbers would be enough, failing to recognize that modern motorcyclists demand a complete package that includes character, technology, and brand excitement, none of which the Z900 delivers anymore. Number 8. BMW motorcycles. BMW motorcycles are experiencing a luxury brand reality check of unprecedented proportions. Once the ultimate status symbol for affluent riders, BMW's premium motorcycle lineup is now facing systematic rejection from consumers who have become increasingly sensitive to value propositions. The overpricing backlash has been swift and brutal. Market analysis reveals that BMW motorcycles are now taking an average of 112 days to sell, nearly double the industry average. This extended floor time has created a snowball effect, where dealers are forced to offer increasingly desperate incentives to move inventory. I have personally documented BMW dealerships offering up to $3,500 in additional incentives on certain models, something that would have been unthinkable just 3 years ago. The reliability concerns that were once whispered about in rider forums have now become mainstream knowledge. Consumer Reports and other independent testing organizations published damning reliability data on several BMW models, particularly highlighting issues with the electronic systems that were supposed to justify the premium pricing. One dealership service manager confided that warranty claims on newer BMWs have increased by 34% over the past 2 years. BMW's value perception problem has reached critical mass. When potential customers can purchase Japanese or European alternatives with comparable performance at 30 to 40% lower price points, the BMW premium becomes increasingly difficult to justify. The comparison shopping process has become brutal for BMW, with online forums filled with potential buyers systematically dismantling the value proposition of nearly every model in the lineup. The luxury motorcycle market collapse is not limited to BMW, but they are bearing the brunt of it as the segment's price leader. Practical consumers have fundamentally rejected the notion that a marginal performance or feature advantage justifies thousands of dollars in additional cost. The pandemic-era reset of consumer priorities has created an environment where value rules supreme, and BMW's reluctance to adapt their pricing strategy has left them exposed to this market correction. Harley-Davidson is experiencing a resale market catastrophe, unlike anything in its 120-year history. The brand that once claimed its motorcycles were investments is now facing a value destruction acceleration that defies all historical precedent. Late-model used Harleys are now regularly selling for 30 to 45% below their original MSRP, a depreciation rate that makes luxury cars look like sound financial decisions. The generational rejection of Harley's traditional cruiser designs has reached its tipping point. Demographic data reveals that for riders under 40, Harley-Davidson ranks near the bottom in purchase consideration, behind not only Japanese and European manufacturers, but even behind newer entrants like Indian and Royal Enfield. The aging of Harley's core customer base has created a demographic cliff that the company is now falling from. Dealers are facing what can only be described as an oversupply crisis of historic proportions. The used Harley market has become so saturated that many dealers are now refusing to accept certain models as trade-ins, without significant negative equity arrangements. A dealer network executive said their used Harley inventory has increased by 78%, while turnover has decreased by 43%. This is a financial time bomb. The investment mythology surrounding Harley-Davidson has completely collapsed. For decades, the company promoted the idea that their motorcycles held their value better than competitors. That marketing fiction has now been exposed by the cold reality of auction results and private sale data. Certain Harley models are now depreciating faster than any other major motorcycle brand, a complete inversion of their historical position. Most devastating of all is Harley's transformation from cultural icon to cultural liability. The brand that once represented American freedom and rebellion has become associated with an aging, out-of-touch demographic. Young riders actively avoid Harley purchases for fear of the social and cultural associations that come with the bar and shield logo. This cultural irrelevance has destroyed Harley's ability to command premium pricing, forcing dealers into increasingly desperate discount strategies. Number 6. Honda Street Bikes. Honda's street bike lineup, once the gold standard in reliable, accessible motorcycling, is experiencing a dethroning of historic proportions. The loss of dominance is most evident in sales figures. Honda's market share in the standard street bike category has declined by a stunning 29% over just 3 years, with competitors systematically eroding what was once considered an unassailable position. This displacement has come primarily from custom-focused brands that offer the personalization and character Honda's utilitarian designs lack. Riders are increasingly choosing motorcycles from manufacturers like Yamaha, Kawasaki, and even Royal Enfield that offer distinctive styling and easy customization potential right from the showroom floor. Honda's one-size-fits-all approach to street bike design has become fundamentally disconnected from what modern riders want. Dealers have responded with aggressive discounting, but the market data shows this strategy is failing. Even with incentives ranging from 15 to 20% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price, Honda's street models continue to sit on showroom floors for 30 to 45 days longer than category averages. This discount ineffectiveness reveals a deeper problem. Price isn't the issue, desirability is. Honda's innovation stagnation in the street bike category has become impossible to ignore. While competitors have introduced rider-focused technologies, distinctive design languages, and engaging character, Honda's approach has remained stubbornly conservative. Models like the CB650R and CB500F have received only minor updates, while competitors have undergone complete redesigns that capture rider imagination. The erosion of brand prestige for Honda street bikes represents a shocking reversal of fortune. The manufacturer that was once the default choice for serious riders has become an afterthought in purchase consideration. Dealer surveys indicate that Honda street bikes are increasingly purchased based solely on discounted price rather than genuine desire, the ultimate indicator of a brand in crisis. Suzuki's flagship models, particularly their once-dominant sport bikes, are experiencing an unlikely collapse that has shocked industry insiders. The manufacturer that once defined sport bike excellence with models like the GSX R-series has seen its sport bike dominance completely evaporate. Sales of Suzuki's premium sport bike models have declined by a catastrophic 56% over the past 4 years. The inventory liquidation crisis facing Suzuki dealers cannot be overstated. Showrooms across the country are offering discounts as deep as 30% below manufacturer-suggested retail price on new, unregistered GSX-R models, with some units dating back 2 or more model years. One dealer in Texas reported having 6 brand new 2023 GSX R1000s still in inventory, despite offering them at $4,500 below manufacturer-suggested retail price. This collapse lines up with the market shift toward adventure and practical motorcycles. While Suzuki focused on marginal improvements to traditional sport bikes, the market pivoted toward versatile machines that offer both performance and practicality. Suzuki's reluctance to fully commit to this shift has left them with a product lineup that feels increasingly irrelevant. The brand identity crisis is most evident in Suzuki's inability to establish what they stand for in today's market. Without a clear value proposition beyond affordable performance, they have been squeezed from both directions. Premium brands offering superior technology, and budget brands offering comparable performance at lower prices. The result is a brand that exists in a gap in market positioning. Most revealing is how Suzuki's traditional focus on extreme performance capabilities has become meaningless in a market where riders prioritize versatility and practical value. The reality that few customers actually need or use the capabilities of a 180-plus horsepower sport bike has finally caught up with Suzuki. Their flagship models have become answers to questions that modern riders are no longer asking. Number 4. Indian motorcycles. Indian motorcycles, despite its revival under Polaris and initial market excitement, is facing a retro dream that has become a nightmare. The younger rider rejection has been particularly devastating. Demographic data shows that despite targeted marketing campaigns, riders under 45 make up less than 15% of Indian's customer base. This failure to attract younger demographics has created an existential threat to the brand's future. The inventory cycle crisis has reached alarming levels at Indian dealerships nationwide. Floor models are now sitting an average of 167 days before sale, nearly double the industry average. This extended inventory cycle has forced dealers into increasingly desperate markdown strategies, with discounts of 20 to 25% becoming common, even on current model year bikes. These markdowns are systematically destroying Indian's premium positioning. Despite significant investment and marketing efforts, the Harley-Davidson domination reality remains unchanged. Harley-Davidson continues to outsell Indian by a margin of more than 8 to 1 in the cruiser segment. This market share disparity reveals the fundamental challenge. Indian has failed to articulate a compelling reason for traditional cruiser buyers to switch from Harley-Davidson, while simultaneously failing to attract riders from outside the cruiser category. The heritage marketing failure is perhaps the most surprising aspect of Indian's collapse. While the brand invested heavily in promoting its historical significance, modern riders have proven largely indifferent to these heritage narratives. Practical concerns about price, weight, and functionality have consistently overwhelmed any emotional connection to Indian's storied past. The market share erosion resulting from this narrow demographic appeal has created an unsustainable business trajectory. Industry analysts estimate that Indian's total market share in the premium motorcycle segment has declined from approximately 5.8% to just 3.2% over the past 3 years, a trend line that raises serious questions about the brand's long-term viability under current strategies. Victory Motorcycles represents perhaps the most complete market disappearance of a major brand in recent motorcycle history. Since Polaris's decision to discontinue the brand in 2017, Victory has virtually vanished from new bike consideration. The after effects continue to reverberate through the used market, where Victory owners face increasingly dire financial consequences. The resale value destruction has been nothing short of catastrophic. Victory models that once commanded premium prices are now available at 50 to 70% below their original manufacturer's suggested retail price, regardless of condition or mileage. A Victory Cross Country that originally retailed for over $20,000 can now be regularly found for under $6,000. Depreciation that makes even the worst automotive investments look stable by comparison. Collector hesitancy has proven particularly surprising given Victory's limited production numbers. While some predicted Victory models would become collector items following the brand's discontinuation, the exact opposite has occurred. Motorcycle collectors and enthusiasts are systematically avoiding Victory investments due to concerns about parts availability, service support, and long-term viability. The parts and service crisis has transformed Victory ownership into a maintenance nightmare. With no manufacturer producing replacement parts, owners are forced to rely on dwindling new-old stock, aftermarket alternatives of questionable quality, or expensive custom fabrication. Routine maintenance items that would be simple on other brands become complex and costly problems for Victory owners. The brand death lesson that Victory provides is perhaps the most valuable takeaway for motorcycle consumers. It demonstrates how quickly a major manufacturer can go from producing premium products to complete market abandonment, leaving customers with rapidly depreciating assets and mounting ownership challenges. Victory's collapse represents the inevitable outcome when corporate commitment wavers and customer confidence is permanently destroyed. Yamaha's R-series sport bikes, once the aspiration of speed-obsessed riders worldwide, are experiencing a sales collapse of historic proportions. R6 sales declined by over 80% in its final years of production, before being discontinued in most markets, while R1 sales have contracted by more than 60% over the past 5 years. What was once the backbone of Yamaha's performance image has become a liability. Dealer rebate desperation has reached unprecedented levels. Showrooms are offering discounts of $3,000 to $4,500 on new R1 models, representing up to 25% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Despite these aggressive incentives, many dealers report R-series models sitting on showroom floors for 150-plus days, becoming toxic inventory that ties up capital and floor space that could be allocated to more popular models. This rejection coincides perfectly with the lightweight versatility shift that has transformed the sport motorcycle market. While Yamaha continued to focus on track-oriented performance with the R-series, younger riders have systematically chosen lightweight, versatile motorcycles that offer both excitement and practicality. The MT series has largely cannibalized R-series sales, proving that style and usability now trump outright performance. The performance paradox at the heart of the R-series decline reveals a fundamental market shift. The reality is that most riders never access even 50% of a modern sport bike's capabilities, making the extreme performance that was once the R-series' primary selling point largely irrelevant. When practical considerations like comfort, fuel economy, and insurance costs enter the equation, the traditional sport bike value proposition completely falls apart. What we are witnessing is nothing less than the category decline of the traditional sport bike segment. Yamaha's R-series is simply the most visible casualty of a broader market rejection of single-purpose, high-maintenance performance bikes. The entire supersport category has contracted by over 70% from its peak in the early 2000s, with no signs of recovery on the horizon. Number 1. Ducati's middleweight models. Ducati's middleweight models have achieved the dubious distinction of becoming the premium pricing disaster that killed an entire segment. The consumer interest collapse is evident in both sales figures and search data. Models like the Monster and Supersport have seen inquiry volume decline by a staggering 68% in just 3 years. Bikes that once generated showroom traffic and aspiration have become invisible to today's buyers. The production overreach crisis has created a perfect storm at dealerships. Ducati's optimistic production forecasts led to massive overstock situations, with some dealers reporting 200 to 300% of normal inventory levels for certain middleweight models. This oversupply has necessitated deep discounts that fundamentally undermine Ducati's luxury positioning, with some dealers offering as much as 35% off manufacturer suggested retail price just to move aging inventory. The Japanese alternative migration has been particularly brutal for Ducati. Data shows that over 70% of potential Ducati middleweight customers are now purchasing Japanese alternatives that offer superior reliability and value. The cost-benefit analysis has become increasingly unfavorable for Ducati, with consumers discovering they can get 90% of the performance and style at 40 to 50% of the cost. With dramatically better reliability metrics, Ducati's premium positioning failure in the middleweight segment represents a fundamental misreading of the market. While buyers in the hyperbike category may still accept premium pricing for marginal performance advantages, middleweight customers have proven to be exceptionally value-conscious. The attempt to charge luxury prices for middleweight performance has been completely rejected by practical modern buyers. The complete market rejection of Ducati's middleweight lineup represents the ultimate failure of premium motorcycle marketing. A household name has become so disconnected from customer needs that even penny pricing cannot generate interest. The brand that once commanded instant desire has discovered the harsh reality that when mystique evaporates and value takes center stage, even legendary Italian heritage becomes meaningless. What we are witnessing across these 10 brands is a fundamental market correction, where reputation is being replaced by actual value. The motorcycle industry has changed forever. No brand is safe from rejection if it fails to deliver what riders actually want, at a price that reflects true value. The era of marketing mythology creating artificial demand is over. The motorcycle market's brutal correction has revealed an uncomfortable truth. When a legendary name becomes a financial liability, no amount of heritage, marketing, or emotional appeal can save it. These 10 brands learned too late that modern riders are informed, practical, and completely unwilling to pay premiums for inferior products. Which of these failing brands shocked you the most? Have you seen these fire sales happening at your local dealers? Comment below and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of the motorcycle industry's great reckoning, and you will not want to miss what comes next.